Good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. The public can attend tonight's meeting in person at the George DeSiero City and County Buildings Council Chambers located at 1 Tacoma Drive, or watch live on Channel 8 and through live streaming on Broomfield's website, broomfield.org/live. The public may also participate in public comment either in person or by calling 855-695-3744 and pressing *3 to be placed in the queue for comment. Screeners will ask callers for their first and last name, neighborhood, and the agenda item the caller would like to comment on. If you'd like to speak on more than one item on tonight's agenda, you'll need to press *3 each time to be placed back in the queue for comment. Public comment will be limited to 90 minutes total per item. The first 1 through 15 participants in the queue have 3 minutes to speak. The next 16 through 25 participants have 2 minutes, and if time remains, the next 26 plus participants in the queue have 1.5 minutes to speak. For our hearing impaired residents, we have wireless headsets available through our AV team in the back of the council chambers. The City Council regular meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Anderson.
Here.
Cohen.
Here.
Hinkle. Jezierski. Leslie.
Here.
Lim.
Here.
Lindstedt.
Here.
Marshallson.
Here.
Schaff.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Thank you. A quorum is present. Will everyone please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In an effort to keep order for tonight's meeting, I ask council members to limit their comments to 5 minutes. If council members are given an opportunity to speak for a second time on an item, they should limit their communication to 2 minutes. We'll plan on a 10-minute break at approximately 8 p.m. if we're still meeting. We will begin with council's review and approval of this evening's agenda. Council may add or remove items from the consent agenda, or council may revise the order of business for a meeting. Does any member of the council have any comments or questions regarding this evening's agenda? Are there any objections to this agenda being approved? Seeing none, this agenda is approved. Before we jump into the agenda, we have special guests joining us this evening. Our first guest, Congressman Joe Neguse, is joining us virtually this evening from Washington, D.C. Congressman Neguse has represented Colorado's 2nd Congressional District for the past 4 years, and he wanted to provide City Council and the community with an update. He will no longer be our congressman starting next year. We've been moved to Congressional District 7, but I know Congressman Neguse will always be a friend to Broomfield. So we will go to Zoom land and see if we have the congressman.
Hi, we are still waiting for the congressman. My apologies.
That's okay. We can switch order and we can come back to that. We have other
Thank you so
things.
much.
Oh yeah, no, we've got big stuff going on over here. Our next special guests joining us tonight are the 2022 Colorado Class 4A State Football Champions from Broomfield High School. We couldn't be more proud and excited of our hometown Eagles, who captured their first state title in 38 years on Saturday, defeating Loveland 24-14 in the Class 4A championship game at Empower Field at Mile High. This victory caps off an undefeated season for the Eagles, who went a perfect 14-0 leading up to the championship. Please join me in congratulating coaches and support staff, and of course, our amazing players and their proud friends and families. Let's give them a round of applause. I would like to invite the representatives to come up and say a few words, if you don't mind, and then we're going to take a group photo. And please introduce yourselves, all of you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. My name's Cole LaCrew. I play quarterback, and it's been an honor to be a part of the Broomfield community for the past couple of years. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'm Kanan Juarez, number 4.
I play slot receiver and I play corner. I just want to say thank you to my friends, family, and coaches. So blessed.
Hi, I'm Caden Quintana, number 37. I play nickelback and kick returner. Just want to say thank you to the Broomfield community. Thank you to the Broomfield coaches, and thanks to my family.
I'm Jackson Chamberlain. I play O-line, and I just want to say thank you to the community for coming us to support us at our games.
Hi, my name is Kalen Fry. I'm number 88. I play receiver, and I'd like to thank all my coaches and my family, my friends, and all of you guys for supporting us this year.
I'm Rylan Beamer. I'm number 3. I play running back and linebacker. And I just want to thank my family and all the rest of the adults that helped me get to this point.
I'm Nick Petrich. I'm number 5. I play outside linebacker. I just want to thank my friends, my family, and my coaches for supporting us this year.
I'm Garrett Keeler. I play defensive end. I'm number 93. And I just want to thank all these guys I'm here with. Come out and play with me every week.
I'm Holden Potter, number 34. I play D end. I just want to thank my coaches, friends, and family for being here.
My name is Bobby Cram, number 56. I played O-line, and I'm thankful for these guys and all these coaches and everyone here supporting us.
Hi, I'm Trent Shaver. I'm number 64. I play D-line, and my dad was able to win 3 rings with Broomfield in the 80s. So it's really cool that I got to win a ring with them today.
That's great.
My name is Andre Rose. I'm number 72, and I want to thank my friends and family for supporting us Broomfield kids.
Hi, my name is Clint Wells. I'm number 53. I play defensive end, and I just like to thank my friends and family for supporting me.
Hi, my name is Xavier Nieto. I'm number 59. I played offensive line, and I want to thank my friends, family, and all my teammates and coaches.
I'm Noah Biller. I'm number 30, middle linebacker. Just want to thank the coaching staff and community for the support and love.
I'm Coach J.R. Concrete, defensive coordinator, second year here at Broomfield. I want to say thank you very much personally for accepting me in the community. On behalf of Coach Hubbard, he's not here tonight, but all of the football staff, the seniors, especially to all you guys, thank you for you guys' leadership, not only inside of the classroom and on the football team, but as well as in the community. And I know all of you guys will be going very far in life. So thank you very much.
And then I was tasked to talk again, so that's what I'm doing. But once again, we really just want to thank you guys for all the support you guys have given us since August. We've noticed a big difference this year. I think it was our first year since COVID. That was kind of normal. And we really want to thank you guys. It was a huge year. The entire community was awesome. And we loved the sport. We heard that there's over, I think, 11,000 fans at Mile High for both games total, but I know Broomfield had the biggest crowd. So we're really thankful for you guys. And we're gonna miss you guys a lot, man. And it's a great community. It's the best community I've been a part of. It's the best community these guys have been a part of. I want to thank the coaches real fast. Without them, we're not here. I want to thank these players. Without these guys, it's not possible. And man, it was a hell of a ride. Sorry. But thank you guys.
Maybe they can bleep it out. We're also taking public comments. So if anybody would like to
We
speak.
do have the congressman on now.
Okay, well, hold on. We're going to finish this up. So just hold up. Congressman, give us 1 second. We're celebrating the Broomfield Eagles and we're going to take a quick picture with them. So let's go ahead and do that. Thank you. We'll stand in the back.
Guys, thanks again for having us.
I do have one public comment. So if you guys want to hold on, our young speaker is coming. I think Porter. Hold on. Go ahead, Porter.
My name is Porter Schaff, and I am excited that Broomfield won state. I'm going to Broomfield when I am in high school, so this is an opportunity to help me and future students with winning. You show great sportsmanship and go Eagles.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much again. All right, back to the agenda. And Congressman Neguse, thank you for your patience. I've already introduced you, so I'm just going to give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hope you can hear me okay. My apologies for the slight delay in joining you this but delighted to be able to join you. Hard to follow the younger Schaff, a young man who just spoke, and of course, the football champions, and excited that I got the opportunity to at least participate virtually to hear the many accolades that they are so well deserved to have received. So congratulations to them and to their coaching staff and to all the students at the school. It's delightful to be able to visit with all of you. The last time I think spoke with many of you was in person here in Washington, D.C., where I am currently as we're wrapping up the final weeks of the 117th Congress. And we thought it would be important to have an opportunity to come by both to say thank you for all of the work that each and every one of you do every day on behalf of the people of the city and county of Broomfield, to update you a bit on the work that we're doing here in Washington. And then finally, to, I suppose, not say goodbye, but a farewell. Obviously, as you all know, the 2nd Congressional District, as of January 3rd, will no longer include the city and county of Broomfield. And I will certainly miss representing this wonderful community and the great citizens of the city and county of Broomfield, who I think are enterprising and very community oriented and people who fundamentally care about their neighbors. And it has been a real privilege to be able to work with the council, to work with you, Madam Mayor, to work with nonprofits and civic society in the city and county of Broomfield on a number of challenges that face this community. And as you all know, I still have family that are in Broomfield, and of course, many friends, and intend to continue to be a resource to the people of Broomfield in the years and the months ahead. But in terms of the work that we're doing now in Washington, as you all, I am sure, are perhaps following, all eyes right now are on the Appropriations Committee in both the House and the Senate as we work to find a way to reach a compromise on an omnibus funding bill to ultimately fund the government for the next 2 years. We are very eager to avoid a CR, a continuing resolution, and instead provide a semblance of stability and normality in terms of government operations, which of course you all know how critically important that is. I am hopeful and optimistic. It may ultimately take us longer than we had liked, but nonetheless that we will reach an agreement and be able to fund the government for the next 2 fiscal years. Of course, in doing so, it includes a number of community projects, or rather the compromise measure would include a number of projects that are very important to the 2nd Congressional District of the state of Colorado that we've worked to champion, of course, with your help. It would be a great capstone to a year that has been very, very active on the legislating front. As you all know, over the course of the last 12 months, we were able to get across the finish line the CHIPS and Science Act, which will onshore domestic manufacturing to a degree that we just have simply not seen in a generation, and also support our incredible federal labs. Of course, many Broomfield residents happen to be employed at places like NCAR and NIST, NOAA, UCAR, and so many others, which will be receiving incredibly significant funds over over the course of the next 2 fiscal years as a result of that bill. We passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is already being deployed in the state of Colorado, including on the Floyd Hill I-70 project, which of course is important to the 2nd Congressional District and our neighbors to the west in Jefferson County and in Clear Creek County, as well as everyone in the Rocky Mountain region who relies on I-70 as the critical artery of economic commerce that it is. And then, of course, we also passed the bipartisan Community Safety Act, which included historic investments to keep our communities safe and to try to prevent gun violence, which, as you all know, has become such a scourge in our state and across the country. And then finally, the Inflation Reduction Act, following the lead of localities like the city and county of Broomfield and so many others, expediting our transition to a renewable energy future by providing arguably the largest investment in the history of the United States on the climate front. There's still a lot for us to do. We're very active in trying to make sure that the omnibus budget deal that we are working towards will include important firefighting and wildfire mitigation provisions, as well as provisions related to the unprecedented drought that we're experiencing in Colorado. And of course, time will tell if we're able to get those provisions across the finish line, but hope springs eternal here in Washington. And so we're certainly going to keep working towards that end. Again, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with all of you. I know there are a number of issues that impact Broomfield residents that are regional as opposed to local, including the transportation issues, including some of the issues we've had with respect to RMMA and aviation noise and the like. And I certainly can commit to you that we'll continue to work on those issues and do what we can to convene at a regional level the kind of conversations that have been so robust and so necessary and so helpful in the last few years during the last 2 terms that I've had the privilege of representing our great state in the United States Congress. So our door will always be open to the city and county of Broomfield, to the residents of Broomfield, and of course, to the elected officials who represent them so well. So I thank you for the time. I'm happy to answer any questions, but more than anything else, just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to say hello and happy holidays to you and your families.
Thank you so much, Congressman. And some of us will be flying in to DC in February with the Northwest mayors and commissioners. So hopefully we can connect with you then. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to public comments first. If anyone would like to comment, there's really not anybody in line. I'll go to council. Would council like to address the congressman? I almost said Congressman. Councilmember Lindstedt.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a quick moment and thank you, Congressman Neguse, for the years of involvement with the council. I mean, you've been so communicative and so responsive to the needs of our residents during COVID and just the needs of this community while we've been all serving in pretty unprecedented times. So thank you so much for your commitment to our community and congratulations on your election to leadership. It's really wonderful to have someone from leadership representing Broomfield, even if it is for just about another month. But so thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I would like to echo my colleagues' comments because you've been so accessible and so inclusive to Broomfield throughout the pandemic, with weekly calls with mayors and commissioners, and truly being, accessible made such a difference as we were trying to navigate this crazy time. And you always were there, and you will be missed, but we may still call you.
The feeling is certainly mutual. Please don't call William Congressman quite yet, although I'm excited. His transition, of course, a time of transition for us all. So congratulations to Representative-elect Lindstedt, of course. And the feeling is mutual. As I said, Broomfield, I always describe Colorado here in Washington as an example of what it means to have collaborative leadership. That is to say, people who fundamentally just care about rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. And I can think of no better microcosm that's emblematic of that than Broomfield. And of course, that starts with the leadership. And so to you, Madam Mayor, I say thank you. And to the council, I say thank you. And please visit us often. So we look forward to seeing you soon.
We will too. And safe travels home for the holidays. Thank you, Congressman. Back to the agenda. We will now continue with the agenda, starting with item 4A, which is a presentation on the 2023 One Book, One Broomfield Junior Program. Council has a copy of the agenda memorandum, which I'll ask our staff to summarize.
Thanks so much. Good evening, council and community. Susan Dunn, our Children's Library Collection Development Librarian. That's a mouthful. We just call her the champion over there at the library. Walk us through this this great item that we have. And this book is so cool.
Hooray.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear you like it. I love it too. Abby, thanks so much. Council members, you've all just been given a copy of our book for 2023, One Book, One Broomfield Junior. It's called Dreamers. And the author is Juji Morales. Juji is a bilingual author and illustrator. She was born in Mexico. She currently lives in Northern California. She's recognized as one of the most celebrated Latina children's book authors today. And she was the first Latina ever to receive a Caldecott honor, which is the award given every year to the best illustrated children's book. I'm sure you can see immediately why she won that award. She was given that award in 2015 for another book called Viva Frida, which was a biography about Frida Kahlo. The book that we've chosen is called Dreamers. Dreamers is a gorgeously illustrated picture book biography in which Morales tells her own story of immigrating to the United States and finding sanctuary and salvation at the local public library. There's a little summary of Juji's life in the back of the book. She came to the States as a new immigrant, as a new mother, speaking only a few words of English. Her son was just a few months old. She had not expected to stay in the States. She was coming for a visit, and then she found out she was not allowed to go back. And she talks in the book a little bit about what happened next. And this part I thought was just so powerful. I wanted to share it with everyone. In this new place where I did not speak the language, it was as if no one seemed to notice I existed, as if my words and actions didn't count. In those first days, I constantly wondered if I would ever find a place where I felt valued. Then one day, Kelly's grandmother brought us to a building that would change our lives forever. We discovered the public library, and it was, and this is in caps, spectacular. I had never been in a place where you could just take books from the shelves without asking and without being scolded for taking them. And there were picture books, something I had not encountered before. I could not believe how beautiful and sturdy they were. And then when I opened them, I was amazed at the power of their illustrations. Even though I could understand very few of the words, I realized that I could understand the story through these images, a realization that would come to inspire me later on. I began bringing Kelly there almost every day. And although at first it was difficult for a little baby to stay longer than a few minutes, eventually we were able to spend entire afternoons looking at picture books, often only leaving when we were told the library was closing. We were at home. The library, so you can see that it was an easy choice to choose this book. This is not Juji's most recent book, but it's the one that we felt was most powerful and most representative about the power of books and reading and libraries to truly change lives. The library will be distributing paperback copies of Dreamers in both English and Spanish at outreach events in the Broomfield community starting in 2023. As the date approaches of Juji's visit, we will be doing story times using this book and other books of Juji's and some wonderful craft programs in the style of this art. Of course, we'll be spreading the word among our Spanish-speaking families. I feel like we see more of them every day coming into the children's library as we make our library more and more accessible for people whose first native language is not English. This year, for the first time, I think you may remember this from One Book, One Broomfield back in November. We experimented with not requiring tickets. The seating was first come, first serve until capacity was reached. That worked out really well for One Book, One Broomfield. So we're trying the same thing for the junior program. Our goal is to make it easier to attend for everyone. So I have brought a copy of the book for all of you tonight. If anyone would rather have a copy in Spanish, I do have some Spanish ones here as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the program.
Thank you so much. It sounds beautiful. I can't wait to read it myself. We'll go to public comments next. If anyone who'd like to comment on this item, please step up to the podium. We'll go to council comments next. Any council member comments? Councilmember Shao?
Thank you, Mayor. So myself and Mayor are on the One Book, One Broomfield committee for the adult programs, but I always love to see what books the library staff comes up with. Since the beginning of this program with Mr. Barnett's, and his first name's escaping my brain, to the series and the methodology in which you all have selected this. So moving from kind of a young adult to a children's illustrated book to kind of a middle age book, it's great, and it really reaches across our community, and it reaches all of our young readers and engages them. So kudos to all of you. Thank you for all of what you do and bringing some very special artists and authors to our community.
Thank you for those kind words.
Thank you. Councilmember Lim?
I love these One Book, One Broomfield choices, and I try to attend all the time. I loved Meredith May. She was so genuine speaking. She was wonderful. I wanted to jump ahead and see, find out some background information on the author and that. And I found a video where she described the symbolism in this book, and I thought it was really cool. She emphasized the butterfly, which of course to Broomfield is important because of the Butterfly Pavilion, which will be our home. So I am particularly interested in hearing her too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member comments? And yes, I have to agree. I'm continually just blown away by the selections. Being on the One Book, One Broomfield committee, we have such amazing readers that bring forth a nice selection for us to call down to reach the one that we're going to elevate, but they're all good. I mean, I share the list that we're reading with my friends, and it's hard to pick sometimes. But this really resonates with me because the library was my sanctuary growing up too. And it was transformative. Being able to discover new worlds and new situations that just open up your mind and open up your eyes. So I look forward to reading this, and hopefully everybody else will get a chance to read it too. Thank you. Thank you so much,
everyone,
for the work that you do in promoting this program. All right, we'll move to general public comment next. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on matters other than the items listed elsewhere on this evening's agenda. If there's anyone who'd like to be heard, please come to the podium, state your name and neighborhood for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Ewalt, Pinnacle North. I'll make this quick. Nearly a week ago, I submitted a question through email to council@broomfieldcitycouncil.org. I haven't received a response yet, so I'm just asking if a response can be given to the question that I asked. I think it's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Council's community and event updates are next. First, I'd like to make a special announcement that today is Colorado Gives Day. Since 2010, Coloradans have come together for this special day to support the nonprofits that make a difference in our lives. Please consider donating today so that we can help equip our nonprofits with the resources that they need to serve our communities. There are many incredible agencies helping the Broomfield community, and we'd love to see all of them reach their fundraising goals today. There's still time to visit coloradogivesday.org and make great things happen. Thank you. And I'm sure everybody who has email knows already that it's Colorado Gives Day, but there's still time. Does any member of council have an update this evening? Councilmember Leslie?
Thank you, Mayor. The Broomfield Photography Club is holding a display of the works of the members of the club in the community center. And I'd just like to encourage my fellow members of the council and residents to go to the second floor and see the wonderful work that is displayed up there by the members of the club. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Any other council member updates? Councilmember Schaaf.
I just wanted to give a shout out to our Parks and Recreation staff and our Public Works staff for the lights all over town, the tree lighting this last week. Thank you to all of our staff. It was another great success. I think the wind blew a lot of people out of here real quick, but the carolers hung in strong, till late in the evening. So it was a lot of fun. It's a great event every year. So thank you for all your work that you put into that.
Ditto, layers, that's what that saves you, lots of layers. Anyone else have any updates or community events? All right, well, moving on. Council's consideration of the consent agenda is next. The clerk will read all of the consent agenda items by title, and there'll be one opportunity for public comments and council questions and comments. Will the clerk please read agenda items 7A through 7E by title?
7A, resolution number 2022-156, authorizing and approving the Fourth Amendment to the City and County of Broomfield budget for the year 2022. 7B, resolution number 2022-145, authorizing and approving an amendment to the agreement by and between the City and County of Broomfield and Safe Built Colorado LLC for the third-party building inspections. 7C, resolution number 2022-132, authorizing and approving the purchase from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the replacement of existing Public Works portable radios. 7D, resolution number 2022-162, authorizing and approving change order number 2 to Maltz Construction, Inc. for construction services for the wastewater treatment plant digester number 2 improvements. 7E, resolution number 2022-133, authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the City and County of Broomfield and the Northwest Parkway LLC for police services on the Northwest Parkway.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with public comments, starting with in person. If anyone would like to comment on any of these items, please step up to the podium. I don't see any online. Moving on to council member comments. Any member of council? Councilmember Lim.
Two items. 7A, my question is, where does this leave us with approval of all the ARPA funding? There's 2 ARPA items in there. And 7E, why is our reimbursement in 2023 less than it was in 2009?
Thank you for those questions, Councilmember Lim. I'm going to have Brenda come first. And if Miss O'Hare could line up right behind her. Everybody's finger pointing on the police department back there. So if you could just select someone, that would be terrific. Miss Ritchie.
Sure. Good evening, Brenda Ritchie, CFO here at the City and County of Broomfield. Thank you for the question and the opportunity to clarify regarding the ARPA funding. So if you recall with the Fourth Amendment, the third amendment that we did in October, that was to appropriate all of the ARPA funding that we received, that 20 million. This is there's a forthcoming coming contract next week regarding Broomfield Heights for specifically stormwater pedestrian, as well as shoring up the stormwater in that area. So in anticipation of that contract, we are appropriating the expenditures at this time. So we've already appropriated the revenues. We're only appropriating the expenditures for those 2 projects since we know that we have a contract. We just finished up the bids related to those. So as the other projects come on board and we have solid numbers, we will then come back to council with the rest of those projects to expend the funds. All of the revenue has been appropriated. However, the expenditures will come as the projects come in. So next week, you should expect to see that contract come through.
Deputy Chief, since you're still standing, I'm assuming that you drew the short straw.
In council, Mayor, Roger Plunkett, Deputy Chief Operations, Broomfield Police Department. So the question, if I understand it, is the difference between the 2009, 249,000 per year services to our proposed agreement of 147,714, correct?
Yes, it struck me that over that period of 14 years, that our reimbursement declined, which is not what I expected. And so I was wondering what the explanation was for that.
And what I'm gonna have to do is get you an explanation for that. I
Okay.
don't know that right now. Looking at the data, it does look like a 4-year term back in 2009 to 2013, which is the same term, it appears, from 2023 to 2027 that we've asked for the reimbursement. So I will get you an answer, but I unfortunately do not have that answer tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member questions or comments? All right, before asking for a motion, I want to remind everyone that item 7E is an intergovernmental agreement and requires 2/3 approval of council. Is there a motion by council that the recommendations contained in the staff reports for agenda items 7A through 7E be approved? Councilmember Leslie.
I recommend that the motion be approved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Schaaf.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. There is no business before the Board of Social Services or the board, and thank you all. There is no business for the Board of Social Services or the Board of Health this evening. The only item under council business this evening is council's consideration of proposed resolution number 2022-141 regarding opting out of Colorado's paid family and medical leave insurance program. Council has a copy of the agenda memorandum, which I'll ask our staff to summarize.
Thank you, Mayor, and Nikki Macklin, Director of Human Resources. I always want to call Miss Pat Gilbert. We all wear shirts underneath our regular shirts that say Ask Pat. So we all kind of walk around saying, let's ask Pat. So Miss Gilbert is also here to in support of Miss Macklin, although I don't think she'll need it. Second reading, brief overview, Miss Macklin.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Council. As you mentioned, this is the third opportunity we have had to touch base on this topic. So in the interest of not repeating myself and respecting everyone's time, I'll provide a very high-level overview of how we got where we are today. Jake, if you don't mind advancing to the next slide, please. So on November 1st, we had a public hearing to consider opting out of the Colorado Family Medical Insurance Program. And at that time, council opted to table the vote and requested a study session. Council had an opportunity to submit questions in advance prior to the study session. And we had a lengthy discussion on November 15th during that study session, at which time ERC submitted a letter with a unanimous recommendation that council vote to opt out of the family program for 2023 and revisit the question of whether to participate in 2024 next fall. During the study session, the majority of council members indicated they'd be in favor of opting out and revisiting the question whether to participate in 2024. Council requested that staff monitor the progress of family through 2023 and evaluate existing benefit package to determine whether benefits that CCOB provides meet or exceed those offered through the family program. Staff is committed to partnering with our ERC moving forward to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the CCOB benefits package in 2023 so that we can make an informed recommendation to council regarding any future benefit changes related to participation in the family program for 2024 and beyond. That concludes my presentation, so I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thank you so much for your brevity, Ms. Macklin. Does any member of the public have comments on this agenda item? I don't see any online. Then we'll start with council questions or comments. Members should limit themselves to questions during this portion. The time to introduce amendments and state positions for or against this item is later. Are there any questions? Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one question related to the proposed benefit that I have brought up in the past of a similar program like what Denver is doing. When you're anticipating the cost of that, do you have any sense on what a leave of an individual employee will cost? For example, if I take a vacation from my company, they're not hiring somebody to replace me. My coworkers are just are picking up the slack, for want of a better word. And so from just a strictly cash flow perspective, my salary doesn't cost my employer any additional. My salary is still my salary for the entire year. So do we have any idea what, if someone was taking 8-week leave, for example, what would you need to replace them with a temporary worker, or would their salary, would their work just be absorbed by their coworkers?
Sure. So I would say it depends on the particular employee and the position that they perform, right? If it's an employee where we are required to have minimum staffing, such as detention or on patrol, we would be paying time and a half at a minimum to have someone cover that shift.
Okay, that's all the question I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lim.
I was interested in knowing specifically what the understanding was that staff would prepare for the council's review in November of the coming year. So when it says in the memo, in addition to continuing to evaluate the existing CCOB benefits package to determine whether the benefits that CCOB provides meets or exceeds those offered. I mean, will that review stop there, or what, I mean, it seems obvious to me at this point, this is my opinion, that there are some conditions that the family leave covers that CCOB does not cover in the same way, at least, unless you go to the donated leave aspect. So if the review gets to the point where CCOB falls short of covering some of the provisions of the family program, will CCOB staff then begin to review how they could make up for the difference in some kind of capacity before that comes before council in November?
Sure. So there is a small group of employees, like we talked about, that would not be covered under the current provisions of CCOB necessarily, right? In the same manner as the Family Act. It would be my professional recommendation that when you are doing a benefits evaluation, we're not just considering what the Family Act provides. It would be best to look at a comprehensive evaluation of all of our benefits and total compensation in terms of our comp and our benefits. Any one change to a particular benefit package can have a ripple effect. So for example, if we decided that we were going to fund participation in the family program moving forward by decreasing our current short-term disability benefit. Currently, we provide 100% income replacement. Maybe we say, in order to fund family, we'll drop that down to a 60% benefit. Every change we make to the benefit package has a potential ripple effect. And so we would then need to look at, well, how much annual leave are we providing? How much sick leave are we providing? Where are the gaps? So our commitment is for staff and the ERC to look at our total benefits package and evaluate, of the current funding we have available to us, what's the best makeup of that benefit package to meet the needs of the majority of our employee population. And then certainly, as we've talked about, if there's a gap, we may have to cover that gap. In order to say yes, we may have to say no to something else, or we may have to come forward to council and ask for additional funding to modify or enhance our current benefits package.
Okay, so I guess that's my question is, well, all of that, if the date is set for something coming to council before November 15th, 2023, will all of that information come to council at one time? Like, this is what we found. If we found there's a shortfall, this is the way we've looked at different options. This is the way we recommend. These are the options we looked at. This is what we recommend of those options to cover that gap. Will we see all of that? Or will it be, we'll get it And that's it.
Sure.
But
So
once-
certainly happy to take direction from council with regards to what you'd prefer to see. Based on what I know today, I would tell you it would probably look something like coming to council and saying, we've evaluated our total benefits package. We have identified gaps in these particular areas. In contrast with what the families program is providing, we are recommending X. We certainly can provide different options to council to say, we have considered these 3 options, and of the 3 options, ERC and staff's recommendation is option number 1. But certainly in contrast with that, council could consider option B, option C. If we feel like we need a study session to vet that further, we certainly can consider that.
Okay. Okay. And would part of the option, if there were a gap, would the options that were considered be both the possibility of joining the state program or self-funding the
I think those are
benefit through Broomfield?
Yeah, those are certainly 2 viable options we can consider. It could be to participate in the state program. It could be to participate plus supplement that. It could be to opt out, and in lieu of opting in, we're going to provide a similar program.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member questions or comments? Seeing none. Will the clerk please read proposed resolution number 2022-141 by title?
Resolution number 2022-141, opting out of Colorado's paid family medical leave insurance program, FAMLI.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Councilmember Ward.
I move that resolution number 2022-141 be adopted.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Lindstadt.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. I think you all know where I stand on this, so I'm not going to rehash it all. I do think that this is something that obviously should be done nationally, and that this is a benefit not for me or for any employee that's making a decent income. This is a benefit statewide for the lower income people, individuals who really need it, and it's funded in this manner because that's the way the state figured out a way to fund it. It's not an individual benefit, in my opinion. And so for that reason, I don't believe we should opt out. I'd like to offer an amendment, however. If we have. Okay, I didn't know if we had a slide or anything. Okay. I move to amend the resolution to add a new section 3 that says, City Council hereby directs the city and county manager to establish a benefit for CCOB employees to begin January 1st, 2024, subject to annual appropriation that allows 8 weeks of paid family and medical leave, 100% of their pay, for absences of a covered individual caused by an eligible condition, AKA requirement based generally on those terms, how those terms are defined by FAMLI. So my sense, so that's, do I need to, okay, sorry, that's my motion, yeah.
All right, is there a second? There is a second. All right, so we're going to vote on the amendment. Oh yeah, we're going to discuss it. Okay, so you're still discussing. Sorry. Thank you, Nancy. Ms. Rogers.
So my point in bringing this forward is so that it's a definite that we are going to establish a benefit that's equal to or better than what FAMLI would cover. This is modeled after what the Denver program has done. I think it's reasonable to do. I don't believe it's appropriate to ask employees to use their vacation and sick time for things like maternity leave. And I know our benefits don't cover things like paternity leave right now. So I think that's appropriate to do. And I feel like if we're going to opt out, we should at least give those things that are not covered by existing coverage. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lim.
I want to ask staff the question in relation to this amendment. Do we have any idea what this would cost the city of Broomfield at this point?
No, as mentioned previously, I mean, typically when you're looking at self-funding a program, you would look at past utilization and claims history to establish a pattern. In this particular case, you are it would be a commitment to fund anyone who would be eligible for not only maternity and paternity that was previously mentioned, but it appears to include medical leave as well and 100% of their pay. So that's a different provision than we've talked about previously, but it would be difficult to estimate that cost at this time.
And in estimating the cost of that, is any of the cost already covered by Broomfield in some way that, you know, the total amount that this would involve, you would actually look at as, well, some of it is already covered by short-term disability coverage or something like that?
Yeah, so the way this is, this allows for 8 weeks of paid family and medical leave. We currently provide, as we've discussed, women who have a baby are provided with 6 weeks for a vaginal delivery and 8 weeks at 100% income replacement through short-term disability. They are also provided with the ability to utilize any sick or annual leave that they have available, as well as donated leave. Fathers would not be eligible for short-term disability because that's tied to the individual's disability. However, they certainly could utilize their sick or vacation for up to 12 weeks to have paternity leave. This also mentions medical leave, so that certainly would be for any qualifying medical event, whether that was having a baby, having a knee replacement, taking care of a sick child.
And if we were to have a program like this, would it operate in conjunction then, I assume, with short-term disability coverage still? And which benefit would be the primary coverage if the condition qualified under both programs?
Ms. Macklin, if I may, albeit these questions are good ones, Councilmember Lim, these are all questions that we would have to dig into. They're much bigger than anything we could answer tonight, including the dollar amount.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Schaaf.
Thanks, Mayor. So, you know, the conversations that we've had around this program, the state program, have been very beneficial. I think for staff for bringing back the opportunity to discuss this in a study session. The conversation and in-depth conversation of the understanding of not only what this program could provide for Broomfield, but also, considering the programs that benefit the employees of the city and county of Broomfield and the robust benefits package that we are offering to employees at this current time. I think that, out of our study session, one of the things that we discussed was the opportunity to review the Family Act within a year. And not only do we get to have that conversation and see how the state program was rolled out and the changes and all of the implementation that goes in towards this year, but we also get to have the conversation about our employees being taken care of. And I think that that's probably the basis of, well, I'm not going to speak to the amendment maker, but that's the basis for my level of engagement, is wanting to ensure that our employees are being taken care of. And throughout this last year, we have raised employee pay. We have made suggestions, well, not even suggestions, recommendations that our employees are paid at a higher percentage, that we want to lead the market within the government workers within our region. And so I think these are very important for this council, and they're definitely important for myself. I do not support the amendment, and I've had a conversation with the council member that brought this forward. And I think that, it's the idea that this is setting up a kind of a mandate before we know all the information that goes into it. And I think that that's kind of putting the cart behind. It is putting the cart before the horse. And I think that we need to be careful of doing that. And so I think that the the essence of this is saying we want to provide for our employees that they do get 8 weeks of paid family and medical leave. I think that we need to build the program before we have that mandate put forward to our city and county managers. So this is perhaps one of those conversations that we can have in a year, is what does that look like for our employees? Thanks, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council? First round. Councilmember Lindstedt.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've been thinking about this since the amendment got noticed all yesterday or the day before, whenever it came through. I agree with just about everything that Councilmember Marshall said. I think it is a benefit that our employees should have. I don't think I can just vote to make it a mandate right now when we don't know the numbers. I also think our employees need to be able to weigh in on what could we fund with this money at this time compared to this, and see. I think we need to have all that information ahead of just a requirement, even though I completely agree with the intention of the amendment. So I think I'm a no tonight. Another piece of this too is if this requires us to add another $1 million or something to our employees, I think council should be able to set our priorities and figure out if we have to take money from something else. I mean, I think we need to be engaged in that conversation and have that discussion on the dais as a council that sets policy priorities. So I don't think I think this is just a little bit premature, even though I totally support the intent of the amendment, but I just don't think we're quite ready to have specific language and requirements at this time. So I think a 1 year delay is prudent, and my position is unchanged. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Ward.
Thank you, Mayor. I also agree with the intent behind the amendment. But I will also have to vote no for reasons that Councilmember Schaaf and Councilmember Lindstedt have said. I would like to revisit it though in a year and see and have that in-depth conversation about what are all the options for us going forward. What is staff's recommendation? What have the employees said? Just so we have that holistic view and we can make a truly informed decision.
Thank you. Any other? Councilmember Cohen.
Just a quick comment. I think it's interesting and unfortunate that the thing we have to vote on is maternity and paternity leave when we haven't voted on all the other benefits that are offered to staff. And so here we come with this and say, oh, I don't know, it might cost too much, without taking into account the cost of not having it. And at what point are we going to have this difficult decision that says, well, that maternity leave, that's too expensive. If it was just a little cheaper, maybe we would go for it. It's a difficult thing to say, what is the price you can put on the value of a mother and a father having a stress-free 8 weeks, at least stress-free from financial situation during the first few weeks of having a baby. I think it's a baseline benefit we should offer. And the idea of a mandate shouldn't cause us to back off. I understand the concerns, but I think in the end, the cost will be outweighed by the cost of not having this for the people who are affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for first round? I have a question for City Manager Hoffman. We're going to start including fiscal notes, right, on policy proposals and amendments and things like that moving forward.
Probably not on amendment.
Okay.
The turnaround time is just, it's unmanageable. And to Councilmember Cohen's point, if you put a dollar amount attached to it, when in fact the program or initiative being requested really doesn't have anything to do with the dollar amount, when your staff is looking at the dollar amount, but it's more a philosophical approach, there's no way for us to be able to quantify that. On those items, particularly the development items, I think is really where staff was with regards to the fiscal notes. Not necessarily the initiatives and/or we can to council priorities to a certain degree from a decision-making perspective. But if we spend the amount of time needed in order to drill down. We need to be clear on the front end that it's a decision-making point and not really just philosophical, because if it's philosophical, then you want it because you want it. And that's a different mindset for us to have from a staff perspective.
Yeah, definitely. But I just want to caution my colleagues that you really should not move something forward without knowing any of the costs. So just my advice, I probably won't be voting on this, but just to be prudent and fiscally sound, you shouldn't vote for something that you don't have no idea what it's going to cost the city and county. With that, I'll give it back to you, Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. With all respect on the fiscal note, this is a question I have been asking since the very beginning of this discussion. So the cost of this program should have been we should have been able to figure it out. Denver obviously could figure it out. On that, I appreciate my colleagues' comments. I'm going to have to disagree though, because there's two things in this amendment. One, it doesn't go into effect till January 1st, 2024. And second, it's subject to annual appropriation. The whole purpose of that language is just for that reason. We don't know what it's going to cost. We don't know what it'll look like. So it gives us a year to figure it out, and then we have to vote on the budget. The second reason to bring this up now is that we're not going to have this discussion again until next November. Well, by that time, the budget for 2024 is already set. So then we're talking about another year before we can implement something. So the reason to bring it up now is to get it set in stone, and let's move forward with it. Now, if we can bring this forward, if this amendment fails and we can bring this discussion forward in the middle of next year before the budget is finalized, then that's something that we could work on. But that's the reason for bringing it forward now. And that's also the reason for not making it effective until 2024, and also subject to annual appropriation so that we have to vote on it in the budget process. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ward.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the only thing I want to push back on is we don't have to review it necessarily in November 15th. We have the ability to review this before. I mean, section 2 of the actual, I guess so. The actual resolution says council will review this decision on or before November 15th, 2023. And we're not precluded from reconsidering it at another date. So we have that ability to look at it earlier. And I think if it's council's direction tonight to really have that full picture of benefits with costs and those dollar amounts attached to it, we can definitely have that conversation earlier in the year, if that is, I assume, council's direction. So I think that's the only thing I really want to push back on. And since this amendment wouldn't go into effect till January 1st of 2024, and we review it sometime next year, I don't really see how not passing this tonight and giving staff the opportunity to consult with employees and do the actual deep dive on the numbers is a disadvantage or harm to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I can note, when we say subject to annual appropriations, we need to be really conscientious of that, because if we say our benefit package with regards to health insurance and those other benefits are subject to annual appropriation, we can't give something and then take it back. Right? So we want to be really mindful of that.
Thank you. Any other council member discussion on this? Nope. So we are going to vote on the amendment on the floor for section 3. All in favor? Any opposed? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Anderson,
No.
Cohen,
Yes.
Leslie,
No.
Lim,
No.
Lindstedt,
No.
Marsh Holshan,
Yes.
Schaff,
No.
Ward.
No.
That fails 6-2. So we'll go back to the resolution on the floor. We have a second. All in favor of resolution number 2022-141? Any opposed? We're voting on the regular resolution. The amendment failed. To opt out. So all in favor? Any opposed? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cohen,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Lim, Lindstedt,
Yes.
Marshall,
No.
Schaff,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
That passes 701. Thank you so much, Ms. Macklin, Ms. Gilbert, and for everyone who helped educate us on this issue. And we'll move on. The city and county attorney's report is next. Ms. Rogers, do you have a report?
No report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. The city and county manager's report is next. Ms. Hoffman?
I do not.
Thank you. There is no legislative update or any business before the Broomfield Urban Renewal Authority or the Arista Local Improvement District Board of Directors this evening. Additionally, there are no special reports or requests for future action. That concludes the items on this evening's agenda. Is there any other business to come before council? There being no further business, the council meeting is adjourned. Thank you. 7.
The Access Live event is in music hold.